Colorado is just beautiful. I loved growing up on a ranch. I grew up on a log cabin on 80 acres of land surrounded by beautiful mountains. My dad always dreamed of owning a ranch and being a cowboy since he was a little boy, and so he moved us to this ranch when I was in 6th grade. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been in love with horses and everything Western, including the part where I grew up, fall in love with a dashing cowboy, and ride off into the sunset.
Even though I didn't grow up on a ranch, I always knew part of me was destined to be a cowboy. I was a typical little boy, so I would always dream about being a cowboy. The holster on, the chaps, and the whole deal. Maybe we'll go for a ride tonight.
Okay.
I've always loved horses. That led me to being pre-vet in college for a little while. That's what kind of when I decided, hey, you know, I don't really love to operate and do all those things. I just want to ride horses. Can you believe that we found each other in Yellowstone when I was from Kentucky and you were from Colorado? How crazy is that?
The summer Ben and I met, we were both working at 2 different dude ranches in Wyoming.
A couple weeks after I started working, one of the lodges threw a kind of a get-together bonfire at night, where we went, and all the people from different lodges went down there.
When Ben and I met at the bonfire, sparks flew. Do you even know that when I first saw you, I thought that you were the cutest thing I'd ever seen?
When I first noticed Beth, we were sitting around a bonfire, and I looked across, and there she was.
They had us go around and say our names and where we were from and where we worked and what we did. And so I was waiting for his turn because I wanted to find out where he was from, what he did, where he worked. And I kept smiling at him, whether he noticed it or not, I don't know. I was oblivious because I just liked looking at him.
I thought she was beautiful, and I thought I definitely wanted to go and talk to her. Once we started talking, I was like, wow, this girl really is smart. She's a cowgirl, she's beautiful, and everything was just perfect.
Then it was like everyone else disappeared, and it was just Ben and I talking, and different people would come and talk to us, but we kind of just talked to each other the whole time. I don't think we really moved. And the more I found out about him, the more I liked about him. Then he took out his guitar and started singing and playing. Oh, he plays the guitar and he sings too. This is getting better and better. I fell head over heels for him. I thought he was pretty cool.
We talked till maybe 3 in the morning, and I played guitar, and it was just like I didn't want to go because I wanted to learn more about her, and we just kept talking, and it was just, it was kind of like magic.
You know, I honestly can't explain why Ben and I were drawn together. I think it's something beyond our control. I definitely think that God had us planned out for each other long before we knew it, because he is too perfect for me.
You know, I just felt like we clicked so well that I definitely thought, you know, there was something there.
Whoa. Yes, you are.
I told my friend Joel when we left, I said, man, I could marry a girl like that. By the end of the bonfire, we agreed to meet the next day and go horseback riding.
Ben and my first date was straight out of a Western movie. It was complete with shooting stars, sleeping bags, campfires, and horses.
On our first date, I figured we could ride our horses, but it was dark and it was late, and we didn't get out till about midnight.
So finally we decided, well, you know what, let's just camp.
We started riding up the side of the mountain, and we got to the top, and it was just like every cloud was wiped out of the sky, and the stars were unbelievable, like you've never seen anything like it. I was so inspired by the date with Beth, I couldn't get it out of my head, so I wrote it down on paper into a song.
It's a beautiful song. It talks about a cowboy and a cowgirl meeting and sharing their dreams and talking about their future and riding in the night, and it is a good one. And I was so excited to know that he was thinking that way, because I was definitely thinking that way.
After that night on the mountain, most of my free time was spent with Beth the rest of the summer.
Ben and I knew that eventually the summer was going to end, and I had to go back to school, and he had to go back to school, which is in 2 different parts of the country. He's from Kentucky, and I'm from Colorado. We were falling so in love with each other, and the last thing we wanted to talk about was leaving each other. Love you, man.
Love you too. I'd been thinking of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and all those things pointed towards wherever Beth was, and so I decided to stay here in Colorado.
When Ben told me that he was willing to move across the country in order to stay with me, it felt great because I was so relieved that what I had found in him, I didn't have to worry about losing or letting it go.
So I got hired on as a wrangler in an elk hunting camp. It was about 14 miles up in the wilderness.
And it turned out to be 8 hours away from where I was going to school, which is still closer than Kentucky, so we were excited about it.
I lived in the mountains for 2 months straight, and I only came out about 2 times. We were pretty much cut off from all communication.
Never again am I gonna let you leave me for 3 months into the mountains with the bears. I would drive 5 hours and he would drive 3 hours, and we would just see each other, and even if it was just for a minute, I would have driven that much just because I would miss him so much. So we would just spend a couple hours together and then back on the road, and he would be back into the mountains.
You know, it was a hard thing to do, to be apart, because man, we were in love. You know, it didn't hurt our relationship. You know, it just kind of, it kept telling me, hey man, you need to get out of here. You need to go down there with that girl.
There's no doubt in my mind whether or not to hang in to the relationship, even when Ben was so far away. It made me more excited to see him and more excited to talk to him. And it also made me realize what I really had. Ben and I had been dating about 8.5, 9 months when he proposed to me.
I didn't want to be very public about it, and you know, our first date was on horses, and that's how we met and did all those things. So I knew that I wanted to take her on a ride.
We rode out on this huge ranch. It's a 20,000 acre ranch.
I said, hey, why don't we climb to the top of Steamboat Rock?
So we climbed to the top, and we get to the top, and it's just this gorgeous view. And there's cows down in the field, and we could hear them mooing. And so we were sitting there for a while, and then he got down on one knee and
told her how much I loved her, and you know how God put this girl together for me, and I wanted to have her for the rest of my life. And so I told her it would be an honor if she would be my wife, and you know, then I gave her the ring, and I said, will you marry me? I
screamed at the top of my lungs, oh my goodness, yes! And all the cows were probably wondering what happened, and you could hear it echo back. Ben is exactly what I wanted in a man. It's like I planned him, and then he came true.
You know, I loved playing cowboys and Indians, and so growing up and doing the job I do, it's been a dream come true. And to find the woman of my dreams, who also happens to be a cowgirl, you know, you can't beat that.
You're gonna be a cute old man.
You're gonna be a cute old lady.